This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.
This is Nadeem Hasnain. I'm a professor at Lucknow University, and I've been involved with the aspirants of the civil services in anthropology, sociology, and general studies for the last 30 years. Currently, I'm research professor at Indian Council of Social Science Research, Delhi. So, in these classes, I will be covering the areas related with Indian society. If you look at your syllabus in paper 2, you will see that they have just given you one line, salient features of Indian society, and one word, diversity. And look at the papers of the last 5 years. They have asked you everything. So it is like a Pandora's box, what we call in Hindi as Bhanmati ka pitara. And you enter into it and you will find so many things. So in the name of salient features of Indian society, they have asked you questions such as impact of globalization on women and aged people, or you have been asked to review the 2 most important legislative measures taken for the scheduled tribes in India. Now, where is that line? Salient features of Indian society. So it's infinite. So perhaps the best way, and I have devised this strategy, that you cannot cover everything in that. No matter any expert continues to take classes for months and months together on Indian society, and still you will find some questions which have not been covered by him. So the best way is to achieve conceptual clarity. So my strategy have always been, as a teacher in the university for around 40 years, is that I encourage my students to go for conceptual clarity. The concept should be very clear. If your concept is clear and you have all this required information with you, then you can handle any question. So if you are not able to understand various aspects of the caste system, for example, which is the most important salient feature of Indian society. If the concept of caste, if the functioning of caste, how caste functions, how caste works, and what are various aspects of the caste system, then you won't be able to handle questions. So instead of going for taking up individual questions, my strategy has been to go for explaining you the concepts, and then you are encouraged to ask questions. I welcome questions. Please do ask me questions, because if somebody does not ask me a question in a class, well, I think that perhaps my labor was lost. I have not been able to communicate to you. So at least some of you must ask questions. If some of you are very shy in asking questions here in the class, as the case with so many other students, they are very shy in asking questions in the class. I always spend some time after the class here in this cabin, and you may come here and then ask your question. So in this in these 5 or 6 days that I have been taking classes, I will be covering these areas. Uh, Diversity, that is various aspects of diversity. Then caste system and all the related issues. Then scheduled castes, OBCs, other backward classes. And with this, all the issues related with the caste system comes to an end. Because when you move to scheduled tribes, then you enter into a different world. So, caste system, scheduled caste, OBC, all these come under various issues of the caste system. And then you have scheduled tribes and all the related issues, the problems of the scheduled tribes, mainly the problem of displacement, and how tribal unrest has been going on, and so many other related things. Then minorities, especially two types of minorities, because your constitution recognizes only two types of minorities, though we may be using minorities in a variety of ways. But our constitution says only religious minorities and linguistic minorities, just two types of minorities. So here, as far as UPSC is concerned, most of the time they are concerned with religious minorities, and the questions have been asked on religious minorities and their problems, like the issue of uniform civil code and so many other things. And then joint family. Joint family is a very important area of Indian society. And then these three, secularism, communalism, and regionalism. And then effects of globalization on Indian society. Effects of globalization on Indian society. And here please note that the word society is very important, because they don't say effect of globalization on Indian economy. Here in this paper, they are talking about the impact of globalization on society, not on economy. So the issue of impact of globalization on Indian economy is the issue taken up by the economist and the other paper. Here, you are mainly concerned with in what way globalization has been impacting the Indian society. The impact on women, the impact of Dalit sections of the society, the impact on the tribal people, and so on and so forth. And then I would also like to share with you some of the very important concepts you can use while writing answers on these questions, like the concept of social empowerment. Now, we have been using this word so frequently: empowerment, women's empowerment, tribal empowerment, empowerment of the sexual minorities, and so on and so forth. And in social exclusion, this is not there by name in your syllabus, but I think that if you have a little idea about these concepts, that will definitely help you enrich your answers, because this word is very important now, social exclusion, especially in the context of the marginalized sections of the society, like scheduled caste, OBCs, scheduled tribes, minorities. These have been the disadvantaged or the marginalized sections of the society. And in order to write answers on the questions regarding these sections of the society. If you have uh, a tool like social exclusion, then perhaps you can enrich your answers in a better way. And then the issue of pluralism and multiculturalism. It is also not there in your syllabus as such. But this is a very important concept with regard to Indian society. Multiculturalism. And how multiculturalism is different from pluralism. Because we have been using the word pluralistic society, pluralism, but now in the current social science discourse, we have started using this word, this term, multiculturalism. Like pluralism only describes a society in terms of different sections of the society. Like if you say that India is a pluralistic society, it means that there is so much pluralism or diversity in Indian society. But multiculturalism is a step forward. It not only describes the multiplicity of people or sections of the society, but also the share of these various groups in the power structure. That is very important. So if all these sections of the society do not have equal share in the power structure, political power, economic power, social power, in power structure, if they don't have equal share, then it may be described as a pluralistic society, but not as a multicultural society. So that is how this concept is very important these days. In the last 10-15 years, the concept of multiculturalism has become very important now. So some of these concepts are not there by name in your syllabus. But if you are aware of these concepts, then perhaps that will definitely help you enrich your answers. So that has been my strategy. So I always explain my strategy before taking up the guide. My emphasis would be on explaining you the concept and feeding you with some basic information, and then you sit down and read, because no matter whatever an expert keeps teaching in these classes, one cannot cover everything. Ultimately you will have to go back to other reading material, so that when you go back to the reading material and then you find that whatever has been taught in the classes are now very clear to you. That would be a better strategy, I think. So I never believed in spoon feeding all the time, because you are now no more kids but now adult, and adult are not to be spoon fed. It's meant only, this privilege is only meant for the kids. You can have a look at one of my books, which I wrote especially for this section of the society, this section of your paper, Indian Society and Social Issues. And after I cover one topic, then I will give you some questions also. Because you know, Indian society and social issues are asked only in the mains. So you need to have a small question bank. I will give you on all these areas that I will be covering. 25 to 30 questions, so that whenever, as per your strategy, whenever you sit down and write answers.
This video is brought to you by AKS IAS.